Bill, I think, I think people get that, agree with it, know it. Tough not to own. You think they're tough not to add to. Yeah. Even, I guess that's the way I'd put it, even at these levels with these kinds of gains, because you bought more Alphabet earlier this week. Yeah,
I did buy more Alphabet. And to my point, when the S&P did go to 5,700 for that first time, we were trying to raise a little bit of cash. We dialed Alphabet back just a little bit. I talked about it on the show. But there were some concerns. Where is the search going to go? And after comments from Apple. But when we saw the event, the I.O. event last week or 2 weeks ago, what they unveiled with Veo 3 and what they're able to accomplish, they are putting their data set to work. And you need the data. No one has more data than Alphabet as well as Meta. And being able to implement it, I think that this is something here that we want to make sure that we're at above market weight on and own. And look at, I think in the market in general, you're talking about a lot of people worried about that it's not going to catch up, or the Mag 7. There's been a lot of outflows in the SMH. I think this is very similar to what we saw in 2019, where there was almost historical outflows in the first half of 2019 as the market rallied. But guess what happened in the back half of 2019? It rallied even more.
You were skeptical of the Eddie Q, so to speak, sell-off.
Yes.
Right? That day that we all remember because we covered it so heavily as it was unfolding. He's in a courtroom, makes a comment that Google searches on their browser, on Apple's browser, were down for the first time. And you're like, okay, is this an existential issue here for what people have feared because of generative AI, ChatGPT?
I do too.
Well, let's get to that in a minute.
It's only going to get worse.
Yep.
Sorry.
Bill was one of those saying, you guys are overplaying that. The market's overdoing it. And sure enough, the stock had rallied back and eclipsed the sell-off and then some. So you're firm in your belief, despite what they're going to argue counter to you in just a moment.
Yeah, I am firm in my belief. At that time, we trimmed it. We got a little lucky. We did it before that comment. And now we're able to take a step back and reevaluate the situation. And I think, and not only that, again, I look at flows, the way the market reacted, the NASDAQ as a whole, after that I.O. event, there was levitation. This was acting, it was almost like the AI trade was a reminder that it's still alive. And the market was gravitating higher on that. So I think from a flow standpoint, from a technical standpoint, I think that there's a lot of room that we can see this run. Yes, search is 57% of their revenue, and that could it's going to take a hit to them if it starts to come down. But the thing to think about too, go back to Apple, and as the product revenue starts coming down, services revenue picks up. If Alphabet, they're running the DOJ problems, if they actually are forced to break this company up, I think that is a positive. There is so much value that can be unlocked in this company even by breaking it up too.
Yeah, but nothing is as valuable and important as search.
But it's not what you're doing for me now. It's in tech. It's what you're going to do for me in the future.
No, but these guys are going to make the point right now that what is a maybe slow decline now is you're not going to be able to turn the spigot off. And that it's just going to keep dripping and dripping and dripping.
And I think that's the problem. When you say, what are you going to do for me in the future? Let's say Google does do AI for you in the future better than any of the other AI competitors. But the thing is, we don't know how profitable it's going to be relative to search. It's an expensive tool to run, and we don't know what the monetization is going to really look like. So I know, just taking myself as a cherry-picked example, I'm going to bet you that my search on Google is down 50% in the last month because I'm using ChatGPT, Grok, Claude, and I'm using them all the time, and I'm getting much better results. I think I'm a little ahead of the curve on that, but that's going to trickle everywhere, and I'm not seeing any advertising on those. So even if I use Gemini, that's not profitable for Google in the way that it was.
Great results. But when you look at, have you seen the videos that are coming out of Veo 3? I mean,
we've all seen them.
This is Tom Cruise's last Mission Impossible movie, but with this video construction, there's going to be Mission Impossible 30. This is excellent.
Hold your thought for a second. I want to get to Julia Borsten, who has a news alert regarding Meta, which just today, Mark Zuckerberg said they have 1 billion monthly actives in Meta AI. Is this related to that, or we got something new?
No, this is new. That was news coming out of the annual shareholder meeting yesterday. But today, Meta is announcing it's partnering with defense tech company Anduril Industries. Now, Meta will design and build a range of integrated XR products. That means probably wearable glasses and the like, which they say will provide warfighters with enhanced perception and enable intuitive control of autonomous platforms on the battlefield. Now, here's what's so interesting here. Palmer Luckey, who's the founder and CEO of Anduril, also founded Oculus, the VR headset maker, which he sold to Meta. Palmer Luckey was then pushed out from Meta and Oculus. So now they're collaborating again, and it all comes full circle. Mark Zuckerberg saying that they are proud to partner with Anduril to help bring these technologies to American service members to protect our interests at home and abroad. We have seen a real surge in investment in this defense tech space, and Anduril is really at the center of it. Back over to you.
Julia, thank you very much. Julia Borson, perfect segue to what we just told you going in that came out at the shareholder meeting to Jenny. 1 billion monthly actives for Meta AI.
Right. And so in addition to that, right, Facebook's got a $68 average revenue per user. They are minting it. So when we think about Facebook or Meta and monetizing their AI versus Google, that's like all, to me, that's all whipped cream and cherry on top for Meta. Whereas for Google, it could be a little bit of cannibalization of the other business. So I look at this and I'm like, wow, that's great. AI is just more money, more profitability. Google, I'm not sure it is. It's a tough one. So when Bryn said before you have to own, or I can see owning the Mag 7s, I'm not sure that you really want to own all 7. I think it's still going to be a time where maybe you want to own 3 of them or 5 of them or a few of them, but I'm not sure you want to own all 7.
Or just weight them underweight significantly and overweight significantly, and you're going to, and if they really perform.
But here's the thing: if you're going to, from a portfolio management perspective, if you're going to underweight something, then why bother owning it?
What would happen to Google's market cap if and when OpenAI files for an IPO? Where is the shareholder base for that stock in the public markets coming from? It's a $300 billion valuation. Those are people selling Alphabet to buy OpenAI, which many perceive to be the next wave of how consumers find what they're looking for on the web. Google's awesome. They have amazing technologies. They have huge investments in things like Waymo. They're going to be big in quantum computing. Nobody is saying that Alphabet is not well positioned for the future. But in this particular business, which accounts for half their revenue, they have never, ever had to fight with one hand tied behind their back the way that they have to fight now. And when I talk to people about ChatGPT, you have people paying $20 a month. They don't even know how to use it.
Right.
You go on someone's phone and say, go in settings, personalization, turn on memory. Why don't you have your memory turned on? You're using it like Google. The thing is not getting to know you. Have you introduced yourself to your ChatGPT yet? Have you literally gone in and said, hi, I'm Scott Wapner. I host a show on CNBC about stocks. And that way the thing knows how to help you. I know that Gemini is not a total also-ran. Yeah. It's just not where it needs to be. And from a monetization standpoint, it's all Wall Street cares about. Wall Street doesn't care about Tom Cruise. Wall Street wants to know, will they ever make as much money in this as they used to make when they had a monopoly in search?
Yeah.
I think the answer is probably not.